Hi, I'm Andrea. Thanks for joining me for this 30-minute yoga practice. If I could tell you how many times people say to me that their lower back is bothering them, I can't even tell you. So this practice, we're going to address that. We're going to be back to normal. So the poses that we do are to bring a little freedom to our lower back. You'll notice that I'm standing on a yoga mat, so if you have one, that's great. If you don't worry. A carpeted floor will be just fine. It will be helpful to have either a couple of blocks or thick books, and you can also use your chair. I'll give you cues to use your chair base if that's a little bit better for you. And the other thing is, always nice to have a folded blanket or towel. So that can just be the throw blanket from your couch or a folded beach towel. And then once you've got those, we'll stand for a moment in our mountain pose. The bedrock pose of all yoga poses. Feet hip distance. Turn your palms away from each other. Think of standing in the majesty of your mountain and in gorgeous posture. A little soft bend in your knees. Big toe mound, pinky toe mound, 2 points at the heel into the earth. See if you can find hips over heels so we're not tucking our tailbone or arching into our back, both of which can contribute to that lower back pain. And then shoulders, lean back and collarbone smile. Back of the head leans back. Ears over shoulders, over hips, over heels. Bring an awareness around your breath. See if you can breathe through your nose. And let it slow down. Not so focused on your breath that it feels like you're self-conscious around it, but just a healthy awareness to deepen our breath. We create some space to stop so that we can start. A little half sun salutation to get us moving. Inhale, arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky. Exhale, hinge at your hips and bring your hands to the tops of your thighs. Inhaling your heart forward, a little bit more lengthen, smile in the collarbones. Exhale, deepen the hinge in your hips just a smidge, and then inhale, arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky, standing. And then bring your arms along your side and return to your mountain. Again, like that. Inhale, arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky, V shape. Exhale, hinge at the hips, a little bend to your knees, hands come to your thighs. Inhale and lengthen through your spine. Exhale, fold at the hips a little bit deeper. And then inhale, arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky in a V shape. Stand into your mountain. One more sun salutation. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands come to your thighs. Inhale, lengthen through your spine. Exhale, deepen the fold at your hips. Inhale, your arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky as we stand victorious in our V shape. And then bring your arms along your sides. This is where your big, thick books are going to be very helpful. I have my blocks set up at the 2 long edges of my mat. That would be a good thing for you to do. If you have a chair, you can set it in the middle of this long edge of your mat so that your hand can rest on the base of it. Then step out to face the right long edge of your mat, or if you're on carpet, just step out to the right. Take your arms out to the side and turn your palms to the sky. And then try to aim your ankles underneath your wrists. So that's how wide your stance would like to be for this next pose. Then bring your hands onto your hips. turn your right leg out. So your right foot faces the short edge of your mat, but that's originating in the hip joint. You can actually nerd out and kind of feel that with our hands on our hips. Scooch your left heel back at about a 45-degree angle. And then for this first one, we just want to get our spacing. So bend the right knee. We don't want the knee in front of the ankle, so you may need a little bit of a wider stance. I certainly do. Take your arms back out to the side, palms to the sky. And we're going to be a bit dynamic, which means we're going to move a little bit here. Straighten your arms and your front leg. Find that victorious V shape overhead, thumbs to the sky. And then rebend your front knee and lower the arms. Palms are still facing the sky. Again, arms reach up, V shape, the front leg straightens. And then bend your front knee and let the arms lower and shoot straight out of your shoulders. One more time with our dynamic movement. Inhale, straighten the front leg, V shape overhead. Lower the arms, shoulder distance, bend the front knee, and now we're going to let it steep a little bit. So we're going to stay with it. Now, if you prefer your hands on your hips, if your shoulders are starting to feel like they're creeping into your ears or your arms are tired, perfect. You can also re-straighten the front leg like we all did anytime you'd like. Feel your right heel stamp into the ground and imagine your right hip tucking underneath you and trying to get to your left toes. We're standing tall as if in our mountain with our beautiful posture. Our breath is slow and rich and deep. Let your low belly lift so we make sure that we're not dumping into our lower back. And even though the hip is moving underneath us, we're not tucking our tailbone. Things are probably getting a little bit spicy in that front leg, as well as in our extended arms. So remember, you can bring your hands to your hips and or straighten that front leg anytime. We're building a little bit of heat and intensity on purpose. 2 more moments. And then hands to your hips, super slowly straighten that front leg. Turn all toes to face the long edge of your mat. Pause for a moment here. So opening up our hips is actually something helpful for our lower back. Extend the arms out to the side, palms to the sky, and then turn your left leg out so that your left foot faces the short edge of your mat. Cheat your right heel back 45 degrees, and then bend that left knee and just try it on for size. So make sure that there's essentially a vertical line from your knee to your ankle. We'll straighten the arms and the front leg, V shape overhead, and then rebend, palms to the sky. Into our warrior we go. Again, straighten the front leg, V shape, arms overhead. And then rebend the front knee, palms to the sky. One more time, arms overhead, a V shape, thumbs to the sky. And then we'll return for our steep in our warrior. Remember that your hands can come to your hips anytime that feels like the better option. Stand into your left heel and imagine your left hip tucking underneath you and making its way to your right toes. Uplift of the low belly, shoulders out of the ears. Your back leg feels almost like it's standing in Tadasana. You can think of the back thigh bone pressing into the hamstring. It feels like your left thigh bone is moving towards the left side of your mat a little bit. Opening up the hips, bringing a little bit of freedom to our low back. And I really want to make sure you're lifting the low belly so we don't collapse into the low back. We don't tuck into the low back. 3 more moments. You're doing a beautiful job. Hands to our hips. Super slowly straighten that front leg. Turn all of your toes. to face the long edge of your mat, or if there's no mat there, as if there were. You're using your imagination. Turn your right leg so that your right foot faces the short edge of your mat. Cheat your left heel so we're at that 45-degree angle. Once again, it's a different posture though, and you're going to want to have your block or your books or the base of your chair where you can reach them with your right hand. So if you need to step your feet together, get your props in order, and then come back, I'm your biggest fan. We're here to take care of ourselves, so make sure you got it all set. Once you're set, hands on your hips. This is a hinge at the hip. Our front leg stays straight but not locked out. So if you press the right big toe mound into your mat, you'll feel the muscles called to action, and we want that. Arms out to the side, palms to the sky like we did when we were in our warrior pose, but now we hinge at that right hip. And take your right hand to the base of your chair or onto that block. Thumb to the sky. Spin the inner upper arms away from one another so it feels like there's freedom between the shoulders and the ears. You're working that front leg towards straight, but it's not locked out, and if there's a bend in it, that's fine. The ability to meet ourselves where we are is the most advanced yoga we'll ever practice. And what we do on our mat, hopefully, spills out into our lives. Right hip feels like it's moving back and down to your left toes. So it's not a tuck at the torso. It's a feeling of a hinge at the hip, a feeling of a little rotation at that hip, and freedom for our low back. You may want to add a little bit of bend to your front knee, firm through your belly, maybe left hand onto the hip. Come all the way upright, take your time. So transitions are like making sure we're set up with our props. Turn all of your toes to face that long edge of your mat. And then second side, rotate at the hip, left foot faces the short edge of your mat. Make sure that you've got all of the props that you need. So your chair might need to scooch a little bit with you. Cheat your back heel back just a smidge. Once you're set up with props and stance, hands at the hips so we feel the hip hinge. Arms out to the side, palms to the sky. Hinge at the hip, lengthen out. Left hand to your block or to the base of your chair. Right arm, thumb to the sky. Press into the big toe mound of that left foot so you feel muscles working and it doesn't feel locked in any joint. So hyperextension just means over extending at the joint, and we want to keep a softness of muscles working. Same thing with the shoulders out of the ears. Spin the inner upper arms away from one another. And let it feel like there's some space between your shoulders and your ears, and then fill this shape with breath. Two more moments. You breathing? Take your right hand to your hip, put a little bend in that front knee, firm through your feet and your belly. Come upright slowly, mindful of our transitions, and then turn all of your toes to face the long edge of your mat. And heel toe, heel toe, heel toe your feet together until it feels like a manageable mountain stance. We'll need to move our props and move our mountain to the front edge of our space now. And then I'm going to take my blocks on either side of my feet. They're tallest. If you're using a chair, you can bring your chair so that the base of your chair is in front of you. I think that's going to be the best way for you to use it for our next sequence of poses. Inhale, arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky, V shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands come to your thighs. Inhale your heart forward. Bring your hands to your blocks or to the base of your chair, and then step your left leg back. We're going to keep the knee off the ground. If you prefer your knee down on the ground, that's great. And you might want to use your folded blanket underneath your knee so that it doesn't feel like too much on the knee on the ground. Now, first find our beautiful posture here in our lunge. And then from here, left hand stays on your block, right arm, thumb to the sky, and we find a twist. You can be doing that with your hand on your chair. Just make sure that in both cases, we're not riding that left shoulder up into the ear. And remember, all of us have the option to put the back knee down if that feels better. Last couple of moments where we are. Unwind slowly. Right hand to your block. Left foot hip distance from right foot. So if your hands are on the base of your chair, that's great. All of us will take our hands to our thighs. Inhale, heart extends. Exhale, hinge a little bit deeper. And then inhale, arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky, V shape. Stand back into your mountain. Take a moment just to feel the practice so far and to remember ears over hips, over heels, smiling collarbones. Beautiful. Inhale, arms out and up, V shape. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands come to your thighs. Inhale your heart forward and then bring your hands to the base of your chair or to your blocks and step your right foot back this time. You have options. You can bring your back knee down, you can pat it. We're going to keep that length through our spine and just think left hip steering back a little bit, right hip steering forward a little bit. With your right hand on your block or on the base of your chair, right hand stays down, left arm thumb to the sky. Think of it as a really sweet conversation as you find your way. So none of this is forceful. We never want to feel prickly or electrical pain. That dull roar of something happening, we've signed up for. Breathe into this new shape. Couple more moments. And then unwind your left hand to the base of your chair or to your block. Step your right foot hip distance from your left foot, hands to thighs. Inhale, heart forward. Exhale, just deepen a little bit the fold and either stay here or bring your hands to your blocks or bring your hands to the base of your chair. And you can move the legs just slightly straighter. We're not interested in locking or straightening them out entirely. Keep your spine long and your breath steady. Last couple moments where we are. Getting a little bit of length into the hamstrings. Sometimes tight hamstrings contribute to our lower back pain. So again, certainly we're not slamming in any direction. We're making space. Think of it as sending a little love to our low back. We'll use our props to help us come to the ground. So you can use the base of your chair or your blocks. Just come to your knees. And then I like to use my blanket for this next pose that we're going to do together. I fold it up. You can also sit on a pillow. That way, when I sit on it, I'm not doing this with my spine. This would not be making one's low back feel good. So if you sit upright, we can keep the hip hinge that we found when we were in that triangle pose that we did. Extend both of your legs out in front of you. Hip distance or all the way together is up to you. And then find the posture of our mountain. Bend your right knee and place your right foot a little bit away from your left leg. So it's not right on top of one another. There's some space there. Sit up tall. I also like to use my block behind me. So if you have your block or your book, maybe have that nearby. Now from our tall seat, Take your right hand back behind you, left arm thumb to the sky. Now, give a little hug to your right knee and begin a gentle twist. Now, we're not collapsed, and that's really important. So think of inhaling and growing tall. All that length that we found in our triangle and warrior pose. And as you exhale, just a little bit of a twist, and you can feel that it's setting free your low back and really the whole length of your spine. Every inhale, grow a little bit taller. Every exhale, just a tiny little investigation into our twist. When we twist, we're inspiring a little hydration into the little discs between our vertebrae, and those are almost like little jelly donuts. So just think of sweet hydration and not trying to turn yourself into some sort of a corkscrew. Last couple of moments here. If it feels good to take your left tricep to the outside of your thigh, for some of you that might work, but I think for most of us, just a little hug is a sweet thing. And then gently unwind. Extend your right leg out in front of you. You can have a little waggle if that feels nice. Bend your left knee and step that foot like about a fist distance from your right thigh. Situate your block or your book so that your left hand can fit upon it. And then curl your right toes back. Find that beautiful tall spine. And then right arm, thumb to the sky, reminding us to get even taller. Give a little hug to that left leg. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, just an easy little hydration for the discs. Think of your inhales as where you grow taller still. And your exhales are just a little loving nudge. I'm going to leave you in some silence. Last couple moments. Keep breathing. If you want to take the tricep to the outside of the thigh and that works in your body, you're welcome to do it. No rush to get there. And then so slowly unwind, unravel. Extend both legs out in front of you for a moment. Sit tall. Remember our hamstrings, sometimes their tightness can be a contributing factor. So we just take a moment to feel them release. Climb off your blanket if you're seated on it, like I am. And just move that off to the side as well as the block that you were using. Happy baby is going to look different on all of us. I'll turn a bit sideways so you can see me. Lie down and either hold the backs of your hamstrings or maybe your shins or eventually even the outsides of your feet. Now that doesn't mean you're trying desperately to reach the outsides of your feet. It can feel much more delicious here, and you feel that your low back is on the ground here a bit. Ever so slightly, a little rock side to side. Now, I want you to be really, really cautious here. Just feel your low back and its freedom. Hold on in a place where your head can stay on the ground and your shoulders relax down towards the ground. 2 more moments where we are. Place your feet down onto the ground. We're going to do a reclining pigeon. And I'm going to show you a few things that might be helpful. Your block could be something that you want within reach as we're lying down. Right ankle crosses on top of your left knee. That's plenty for most of us. The other thing you might do is put your block underneath your head. So for all of us, there's going to be a different place where this works best. If you're feeling a release in the hips and your lower back is happy as a clam right here, stay as you are. Some people will take the right hand through the space and hold either around the shin or around the hamstring like we did in that happy baby. That can be pretty intense. Perhaps you take your other block, put it underneath your left foot, and voila, you have your ideal recipe. So we want to let that hip articulate in the pelvis in such a way that it's suggesting some freedom for our lower back. Find your perfect place, and then I'm going to let you sip in the silence. And then gently place your left foot on the ground or on your block, and then your right foot on the ground. If using the block is helpful, just move your block so you can put it underneath your right foot now. Switching sides, left ankle on top of right knee. It could be perfect with your foot on the ground or on the block, and just like this, some people left hand through the space, interlace around the hamstring, or interlace around the shin. Remember, a folded blanket or block under your head might be your recipe. And that really is the great part of this practice, is you get to be you fully and enjoy your own recipe. Last couple moments. If you have an interlace, undo your interlace, place your right foot on your block or on the ground, and carefully dismount your left foot onto the ground. Move your props out of the way. Step your feet as wide as your mat, cactus your arms out to the side, shimmy your shoulder blades onto the ground. Keep your feet this wide, let both knees drop over to the right. A pretty great release of the low back. Only if it feels to you to be the right move might you pick up your right foot and cross it almost like we did in that reclining pigeon a moment ago. If that's too much on your left knee or anywhere else, go back to where we were with the feet on the ground. If you crossed the ankle on top of the knee, place your right foot on the ground and then just let the windshield wipers of your knees go to the second side and pause. If it felt good to you on the first side, maybe cross left ankle on top of right knee, which is actually more like right thigh. Remember, this is a release. We don't want anything electrical. If you cross the ankle on top of the knee, put your left foot on the ground. All of us come back to center with your feet as wide as your mat. Let your knees fall in on each other. Carefully, just 1 inch, lift your hips up straight up off the ground so there's space in your low back. Lower your hips back to the ground. Either stay like this with your arms alongside your body, palms to the sky, shimmy your shoulder blades underneath you. Or if it feels okay on your low back, straighten the legs out as we come into our final Shavasana meditation. Feet flop open or knees fall in on each other. Close or cover your eyes if you're comfortable, and then completely let go. And you're welcome to stay here in your Shavasana final meditation as long as you'd like. If you're ready to start to make your way back, you can move fingers and toes. Gather your knees carefully towards your chest. Roll to either side. Come up to any comfortable way to sit to close our practice. In yoga, we often say namaste, which means the light in me salutes the light in you. I hope that you feel back to normal. I'm Andrea. I look forward to us practicing again together soon. Namaste.